Part 69. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Mu. Chapter 684. Qin Ji's fleet did not dock at Chongying Island for too long. After all, time is urgent now. The next step is to go to the Atlantic Ocean, so we must seize all the time. On the command ship, while everyone was resupplying, Qin Ji and the camp leaders determined the subsequent route on the chart. If we provide support quickly, we can go directly from Chongying to the Bering Strait, pass through the polar waters, and then directly reach the Northern Alliance, King George V said, pointing to the chart. At this time, Aurora on the side shook her head. No, it's almost November now, and the Arctic Ocean is already freezing, so this route is not possible at all. Even if you want to forcefully pass through here, it will be more difficult for you who are not familiar with the polar climate than fighting the Siren fleet. Qin Ji nodded. Afroel is right. Although crossing the Arctic Circle is the shortest route, we have no experience in fighting in the polar regions, and there is no route through the polar regions. If we go there rashly, we will easily get there. Therefore, we still followed the plan we made before and crossed the entire Pacific Ocean. So which route does the commander think we should take now? Veneto asked. Depart from Chongying to Guam, resupply there and then go to Hawaii, then depart from Hawaii and then pass through the Panama Canal to the Atlantic Ocean. Qin Ji pointed to this route and said. I remember Hawaii should be the front line of White Eagle in the Pacific, right, said the Prince of Wales. Yes, White Eagle's front line in the Pacific is indeed in Hawaii, and Washington is responsible here, Xiong he said. That's what I mean. White Eagle's terrain is surrounded by oceans on both sides. If their offensive on the western Pacific coast can be alleviated, they can send all their forces to the eastern Atlantic coast. In this way, starting from their homeland, they can form an alliance with us. A pincer attack situation. Qin Ji pointed at the sea chart and said. But if we cross the Pacific rashly, what if we encounter a large Siren fleet? Enterprise asked. Qin Ji was about to speak, but a voice from the side interrupted him. No, because I have come through this route before. Everyone looked back and saw Fi Long looking over here. Obviously what she said before was hers. Did Fi Long come from the Pacific Ocean before? Qin Ji asked. Yes, there were originally several strongholds here, but Antix may have sensed my arrival, so those strongholds were cancelled, Fi Long said. As expected, he is indeed one of the most outstanding warriors among Chongying in Yin. With the existence of you and Takao, the average Antix would shy away when seeing the two of you. Nizana stood beside her. Said. Jin? Is that the organization you belong to? Qin Ji asked. Fi Long didn't answer, it was Helena who answered the question. That's right, we all originally belonged to the Yin organization. Ah. Are you all from Yin organization? Including the company that North Carolina saw before, New Jersey asked. Yes, Fi Long glanced at Helena and then nodded. Then your Yin organization must be very powerful, Ziwikaku said with interest. After all, she was lucky enough to see Nizana take action when Bismarck supported Shigesakura. Powerful, Fi Long smiled mockingly. If our organization was really powerful, maybe there wouldn't be so many things. Huh? Isn't it true that you are so powerful? Ruhi asked in surprise. For you, we are indeed stronger, but for our enemies, we are still far behind, Helena said. The enemy? Who is the enemy? Qin Ji asked. You don't need to know for now. If one day, your ability is enough to face those powerful enemies, I will tell you even if you don't ask, Helena smiled. Tisk, is it like this every time? King George V clicked his tongue. Are you not strong enough? There is nothing you can do about it? After all, the world you are in is a numbered world. The intensity of this world itself determines the upper limit of your strength. But now the world has undergone some changes, and I believe you have all noticed it. The original limit no longer exists, and you can continue to improve your strength, but the difference between a ship and a forgery has not changed, so work hard. Helena smiled. So what kind of organization is the Yin organization that you are in? Qin didn't care at all about Helena's enemies who did not give a clear answer, and continued to change the topic to the Yin organization. Ember? To be precise, it should be called Embers. Because the people who join this organization are all the dregs left after being burned, Helena said with a smile. Neither Filong nor Nizanor refuted her answer. Obviously, this answer was recognized by everyone in Ember. Qin frowned. Could it be said that all the people who join this organization are from different worlds? And they are also the world after being destroyed? Most are, of course some are not, they are the original ships themselves, Helena said. The original ship? That means that some of the people inside are from the original world you mentioned, the starting point of everything, Qin asked in surprise. That's right, Helena nodded, and we have one here. After Helena finished speaking, she looked at Fei Long. The rest of the people's eyes followed her and looked at Fei Long. Obviously, the meaning contained in it was very intriguing. However, Fei Long didn't say anything, and he didn't look angry at all. He just crossed his arms, as if he wasn't what everyone was looking at. Qin coughed and said, "Okay, that's the end of this topic. Knowing too much is not of much benefit to us now." Fei Long also said before that this route is safe enough, and siren fleets rarely appear. Then we will take this route, speed up as much as possible, and reach the front line of White Eagle in the shortest time. Understood, everyone nodded. Well, that's it. Let's go down first to check the supply situation of our respective camps. After completion, we will notify the command ship and I will arrange to set off together, Qin said. Yes, the camp leaders nodded one after another, and then got off the ship to check the supply situation of their respective camps. Not long after, Qin received communications from several camp leaders on the command ship, saying that everyone had completed supplies. Attention all personnel, board the ship immediately under the arrangement of the leaders of each camp, and we will set off immediately. Yes, Commander. My ship girl, my world. Author, Huangming Mu. Chapter 685. Winter Sea Surface. Just like a woman's mind, it is difficult to fathom. Before, it was covered with dark clouds, and it looked like a storm was about to come. But not long after, the sky was clear and the wind was light and the clouds were calm. On the plywood of the command ship, Qin was lying on a chair, illuminated by gentle sunlight, and beside him were several ship girls who had been stationed on the command ship for a long time. Everyone had a look of contentment on their faces. After all, after going through a big battle, this was a rare rest time. It would be a shame to have such a sad time if they looked sad again at this time. It was possible to cross the main route directly without stopping at Guam, and the supplies we were on this time were enough to span the entire Pacific Ocean. So the main reason this time is to go see Hai, right? Tian Cheng, who was sitting next to Qin said, and handed Qin a cup of freshly brewed tea. Seeing this scene, Qin immediately sat up and nodded after taking the tea from Amagi. I do have such an idea. We have been here for such a long time. Although Hai has the kitchen goddess and the others to take care of him, if there is no news, I always feel uneasy. This time we have to go through Hawaii to go to White Eagle, so it is better to go to Guam first. We are more familiar with that area and it is safer to go there. The commander is right. If we go directly from Chongsakura to Hawaii, we must cross the center of the Pacific Ocean. We don't know the specific conditions there. Every time we want to explore there, there is a special force blocking it. We are always lost. Since we are going to support this time, we should choose the safest path. The company said aloud. Haha, the company is still a little too serious. Guanghui smiled, and then his face became worried. Actually, not only the commander, But everyone is also worried about Hi's safety. After all, she was injured too seriously this time, and it may take a long time. There is no time to fight side by side with everyone, and we have to leave the Pacific Ocean for a while. It was definitely impossible to take her with him to the battle in the Atlantic Ocean. When he came back, no one knew how much time had passed. Going back this time was a temporary farewell to them. Both the people from Donghuang and Chongying should have thought of this, so they all expressed their support. Qin Ji looked at the somewhat embarrassed Enterprise and smiled. After all, Enterprise, as one of the leaders of our fleet, has a lot to consider, and we are now mainly focused on rescuing the major camps, so naturally we cannot put these in the main position. But since I want to go to the other side of the sea, this can be regarded as my own selfishness. Commander. The company naturally knew that Qin Ji was speaking for himself and wanted to explain something, but he heard Bismarck say from the side. Indeed, this is the selfishness of the commander. As a support fleet, we cannot make such a decision. Just like in the history of Donghuang, Dao controlled the floods and passed through the house 3 times without entering. We should go directly through Guam. Heading to Hawaii. Ahem. So everyone knows about this matter and doesn't say it out loud, Qin Ji said awkwardly. He. By the way, how does the Lord view the changes in this world? Tian Cheng said with a smile. A lot of things have happened in this period of time, and I have seen a lot of things that I never dared to think about before. Even Qin Ji, who is now very receptive, couldn't help but frown for a moment. What is certain is that the world is becoming more and more complex. It is not as simple as it was when we first encountered the sirens. Although this place is now equivalent to an experimental field, a group of uninvited guests have broken into this experimental field, and it is difficult to define the sirens' future plans for the world. Moreover, the current strength of the Ember organization and the Arbiter is too strong. After this operation is over, we must first improve our strength. Only in this way can we participate in future battles, otherwise we can only be treated as a group of spectators like when we were at Donghuang this time. Yes, so far, we have seen 3 arbiters in this world, and the 3 of them have never joined forces. The Ember people have said that the cooperation of the arbiters is definitely not as simple as 1 + 1. If the 3 of them join forces, I am afraid that even Helena, Filong, and Nizana will have a hard time dealing with them. The company said worriedly. Don't forget that company that has only appeared once before. Bismarck on the side pressed the brim of his hat and said as if he remembered something, and I heard Nizana accidentally say before that the world is now there are far more than just a few of them, there may be more embers that have come to this world and have not yet appeared. So if there are so many embers, it is not impossible to have more arbiters, so I am afraid that the future situation will be more difficult than we imagine now. Commander, I think we need to get some cooperation from Ember in the future, and learn from them how to fight as a real ship girl, and how to improve one's own strength. Our port area must create a group of elites. Only in this way can we stand firm in the future changes in the world. I support Bismarck's view. Since they are here, if we don't take any action, we would be really sorry for this opportunity, Magi said with a smile. Well, and I think Helena's feelings for the commander are somewhat special, so we can definitely take advantage of this, Bismarck said to Qin Ji. Qin Ji couldn't help but touch his nose and glanced at the exit of the deck. I said, Bismarck, they are still below, can you not say it so openly? And what kind of strategy is this, a beauty trap? Haha. Hearing Qin Ji say this, everyone on the deck couldn't help but smile. Bismarck said with a serious face, this is not an opportunity for the commander to betray men, but it is an opportunity to use our resource advantages to expand our own strength. Ahem, let's talk about this kind of thing later. While Qin Ji and others were talking on the deck, Filong, who was leaning against the door of the control room, looked at Helena and said, they are talking about how to become stronger from you. Helena smiled and raised her head, even you heard it, how could I not hear it? So what's your decision? Fi Long asked. If you want to get something from me, you must pay accordingly, Helena smiled. Haha, as they said, you are not a peaceful person, Fi Long said with a look of relief on his face. Nizana on the side shook his head helplessly. I told you to, don't forget our plan. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 686. After several days of driving, everyone finally returned to the waters near Guam. As soon as they entered the sea, they met Qin Ji's ship girl who was staying behind to patrol Guam and Commander Yunzi. Looking at the familiar flag and the familiar formation, Yunzi and the ship girls naturally knew who it was. Welcome back, Commander. Yunzi's voice appeared in Qin Ji's communicator, faintly full of excitement. Thank you, Commander Yunzi, for reporting the current status, Qin Ji said with a smile. Everything is normal in the sea area at present. I am performing daily patrol missions, Yunzi responded quickly. Very good, continue your mission. My stay in the port area is very short. The port area still needs you to protect it? After a simple supply, I will go to White Eagle's frontline position in Hawaii, Qin Ji smiled and said in the communicator. Finally, with a hint of anxiety in his voice, he said, Hi, has she woken up? Report to Commander, Hi, I woke up 2 days ago, but his current condition is normal and he can't move yet. He can only lie in bed to rest. But there is no problem with general communication. The deputy commander even took us to visit her as a group before. Yunzi said. Well, I understand. Then continue the mission. I will head to the port area, Qin Ji said. Yes. After hanging up the communicator, the two sides honked their horns to greet each other, then staggered away from the large troops and drove towards the target direction. Because they had already reached the fortified sea area near Guam, everyone quickly drove to the port area. Commander Qin Ji, is this your base in Guam? This natural port looks very nice in the communicator. Ruhi looked at the port not far away with curiosity and said to Qin Ji. Haha, you are still on the outside now. Only when you get inside can you see the true appearance of this natural port area. Don't be surprised then, Qin Ji said with a smile. Haha, is there something else going on here? Aurora asked equally curiously. Yes, because this natural harbor is divided into 2 ports, the inner port and the outer port. You will know when you see it, Qin Ji said. So with this curiosity, everyone's fleet slowly sailed into the outer harbor. When they saw the port pier built along the outer harbor, everyone was amazed. But what was even more surprising was that when they entered the inner harbor from the outer harbor, they realized why Qin Ji said they were surprised. After all, the outer port and the inner port are completely different ports in form. What a perfect concealment! Even the Siren reconnaissance plane wouldn't have discovered the existence of this inner harbor if it wasn't careful, right? Ruhi said in surprise. No, after all, it is easy to spot from a high altitude. But it might not be possible on the water, Qin Ji said with a smile. On the other side, when Qin Ji was introducing everyone from Donghuang and Chongying who were here for the first time, the dock in the inner harbor started to get crowded. After all, they encountered Qin Ji's fleet. As a patroller, Yunzi would be derelict in his duty if he did not report to the base. Especially since Qin Ji had gone out on a mission before. When he came back this time, Donghuang must have been peaceful. Soon, everyone docked the ship at the inner harbor pier and got off the command ship. Welcome Commander, Commander. To make his triumphant return as soon as Qin Ji came down, he saw other commanders and ship girls in the port area waiting here under the leadership of Li Chenming. Haha, you are still doing this, Qin Ji said with a smile, but thank you everyone, But coming back this time is not the end yet. We will set sail for Beijing soon, so this time we are coming back is just the halfway point. Just resupply and we'll set off right away. After hearing Qin Ji's explanation, everyone's cheers gradually weakened. Li Chenming asked, "Can't you stay for one day before leaving? You haven't had much rest since October, right?" Qin Ji shook his head, "There is no way, the war waits for no one. Although the siege of Donghuang and Chongying has been lifted, it is not over yet. This time the sirens are coming with force, and the other camps must be resisting with all their strength. At present, the strength of our fleet is the most intact, and it is time to do something for this world. Okay, I won't advise you anymore. You are the commander, and you are the biggest here." Li Chenming smiled and said, "But you don't have to worry about this place when you are outside. Even if we risk our lives, we will protect this place." "That's right." Li Chenming's words aroused the reactions of many commanders, and they all expressed their beliefs. After all, although he is not strong enough to go to other camps with Qin Ji to support him, he is more than enough to protect their base. "I believe you." Qin Ji nodded to everyone, and then said to Bismarck beside him, "Bismarck, let the command ships and everyone carry out supplies. I will go see Hai and meet here in an hour." "Yes." Bismarck nodded in response. Afterwards, Qin Ji said to Li Chenming, "Donghuang and Chongying also have a lot of people here this time. Please take them to visit the port area. I'll go to the infirmary." "No problem, just leave it to us." Li Chenming naturally saw a few familiar faces, so he immediately agreed. But Hai is not in the infirmary now. She has been sent to Shiji Sakura's small building in Minato to recuperate. If you want to see her, just go there. Hearing what Li Chenming said, Qin Ji immediately nodded, "Well, I understand. See you later." Because time was urgent, there was no need to pay attention to anything. After finishing speaking, Qin Ji and several ship girls left the port and walked towards the port area. Li Chenming and others and Bismarck were left to complete their respective tasks. Tiancheng and the others liked to go there before Chongying Xiaozu, so Qin Ji was still very familiar with it. Perhaps because he was getting closer to Hai, Qin Ji couldn't help but walk faster. The journey that usually takes more than 10 minutes was completed in less than 10 minutes this time. As he came to the door of Chongsakura Xiaozu, he saw a familiar figure walking out of it. It was the female kitchen goddess who took care of Hai. "Hey, Commander, I just heard that you are coming back soon. I didn't expect you to be here so soon." The female kitchen goddess was quite surprised when she saw Qin Ji. "Thank you for your hard work during this period," the kitchen goddess. "How is Hai's situation now?" Qin Ji nodded and asked the kitchen goddess hurriedly. "The recovery is good, much better than before. The core of the mind is not damaged. It only needs to be cultivated for a period of time before it can return to its previous appearance." The female kitchen god smiled and said to Qin Ji. "But the commander doesn't look very good. He must have not rested during this time, right?" Qin Ji shook his head, "I don't care, the key is that Hai is fine." "Haha, if Hai knew that you were so worried about her, she would be very touched." The female kitchen god smiled and said, "Let's go, I will take you to see her." My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 687. Gently opening the door, the scene in the room appeared in front of Qin Ji. If he were asked to find a word to describe the scene he saw, it would be the west wind blows behind the curtains, and the people are thinner than yellow flowers. Amagi is usually the most sickly beauty in Minato. She coughs from time to time, cannot do any strenuous exercise, speaks softly, and always seems to be slightly panting. But now Qin Ji sees more Hai than Tiancheng. The originally fair face became even paler as he lay there, and there was no trace of blood on his lips. The smooth black hair in the past seemed to have lost its luster, and the whole person looked very weak, as if he was worried that a gust of wind could take her away. Blown out of bed like that. Just when Shinji looked at Hai in a daze, Hai's face showed a look of surprise. He seemed to have some strength for a moment and wanted to support his body and lean up. However, in her current state, she didn't have that kind of strength, and she just looked like she was struggling. Shinji reacted quickly after seeing this scene, and quickly ran forward to support Hai's body that was trying to sit up. "Don't move, just lie down quietly like this." "But the commander is back. I can't lie here like this." "The least I can do is be polite," Hai said stubbornly with a hint of sickliness in his voice. "What kind of courtesy are there at this time? You are the patient now, the biggest patient, so leave me alone." Shinji shook his head and said. This Hai still looked a little embarrassed. "It's nothing like that. Just lie down and relax," Shinji said seriously. "But I've been lying down for too long, Commander, I want to sit up," Hai said to Shinji. The request in his eyes and tone made him feel a little distressed. So Shinji raised his head and looked at the kitchen goddess. "How is it?" "It's okay, but it's best to find something for her to rely on," the kitchen goddess said. Simple. Hearing what the female kitchen goddess said, Shinji breathed a sigh of relief, then hugged Hai whole body and pushed her body into his arms. "How about this?" Shinji said to Hai. I don't know whether it was because Shinji moved too much or because he was lying in Shinji's arms, but Hai's cheeks showed a strange blush at this time. "Thank you, Commander. I'm fine and warm," Hai said softly. "It seems like it's the first time I've been lying in the commander's arms like this, and it's also the first time I've been in such close contact with the commander." Shinji was stunned for a moment, then said softly, "I ignored you too much before. If you like this, you can do it anytime in the future. Promise me to get better soon, and then we will go on a date together and attend the grandest banquet together." Perhaps seeing Shinji and Hai like this, the kitchen goddess and the others winked at each other, then quietly exited the room and closed the door to create an environment for the two of them where they would not be disturbed. "How is Hai's current situation?" Enterprise asked the kitchen goddess. "Didn't I say that I still need some time to rest?" said the kitchen goddess. "We are not commanders. Maybe ordinary humans need a period of rest and recovery after getting sick, but we are ship girls, and our recovery and resistance capabilities are beyond human imagination. Hai's current state obviously cannot be restored to its original state. What exactly happened? Please tell us in detail." Enterprise said to the kitchen goddess. Well, Hai's current situation is more serious. Although she is awake now, the battle damage and trauma this time have caused some problems in the core of her mind. It is very likely that she will only be like this in the future." The female kitchen goddess looked at the gazes of several people and said hesitantly. "What?" Guanghui and Tiancheng couldn't help but shout in surprise. "There is nothing we can do about it? The charged attack of the previous agent seems to have some special power. According to our current treatment methods, we cannot treat Hai. Unless a method can be found to break that power and then repair the damaged mental core, this situation can be completely overcome," said the female kitchen god. "I see, there may be some ways." The company immediately thought of those people. "What method?" the kitchen goddess asked doubtfully. "We met some mysterious ship girls on our way to Donghuang for rescue this time. Maybe they have a way to cure Hai's current condition," Guanghui said. "I'll go find them right now." Enterprise is a person who does what he says, so as he said that, he turned around and prepared to leave to find Helena and the others. But as soon as he turned around, the company saw two familiar figures in the direction of the entrance. "Helena, Filong, you came just in time. I have something to ask you," Enterprise said to the two of them. "I know, what you want to ask is how to treat Hai's current state, right?" Helena asked. "Yes, but I didn't say how you knew." "Did you just hear our conversation?" Enterprise asked. "These injuries are commonplace for us, but we are not as seriously injured as Sci-Fi Long said while looking at the company. So, you can treat me, the company asked in surprise. Yes, but not now, Helena said. Why? Guanghui asked. Because there is no time now. Have you forgotten the next mission of your fleet? In this short hour, it is difficult to recover from such a serious injury. Therefore, it is better to wait until everything is over before giving Hai a thorough treatment. Helena replied. I see, I'm sorry, we are a little impatient, Magi said to Helena. Helena smiled and said, it doesn't matter. If this kind of thing can make Commander Qin Ge owe me a favor, then I will be very happy. Hearing what Helena said, Magi narrowed his eyes. So your goal has always been to be our commander. Hey, have you discovered it? Sure enough, it's Chongying who is called a ghost conspirator. Helena smiled and looked at Magi, without any fear of being exposed. What is your purpose? Our fleet should not be very attractive to you. Although we are somewhat unique to other camps in this world, to you, we are nothing special, right? Magi asked. I can't tell you about this matter yet, but what I can tell you is that this matter is beneficial to you and us, and it involves different times. Helena smiled. So now no matter what kind of questions I ask, you will refuse to answer, Magi asked. That's right. My ship girl, my world. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 688. Although he had a lot to say and wanted to stay longer, it was the commander's responsibility that made Qin Ge unable to stay in the port area any longer. An hour later, under the gaze of everyone, Qin Ge and most of the ship girls boarded the command ship that had been supplied, sounded the whistle, and gradually left the port. You're really on time, Commander Qin Ge. Standing on the command ship, Helena said to Qin Ge, I thought I would stay in the port area for a while, but it turned out that it was only an hour. It was really cruel. Qin Ge smiled. Maybe, Frederick the Great told me before that you must abandon all emotions and maintain absolute rationality on the battlefield, but now the war has not stopped. I was already satisfied to be able to return to Guam and catch a glimpse of them. As for staying, haha, we still have a lot of time in the future, so there is no need to care about this opportunity to get together. That's right, Helena smiled, but having said that, I quite like the layout of your port area, but some places need to be slightly changed or some buildings added. What do you think? Qin Ge smiled and said, if you like it, we can go back to the port together and do as you say. Haha, Commander Qin Ge is really lovable. Maybe if I had you at that time, I wouldn't be like this now, Helena said with a smile. Ah, Qin Ge was stunned for a moment, and then remembered that Helena might be talking about her world. So he waved his hand and said, perhaps all this is an arrangement of fate, allowing me to appear in this world and allowing you to appear in front of me. But there is a saying that goes well, it is better to cherish the present than to regret the past. And now I am by your side. If you have any uneasiness or anxiety, you can tell me and I will be a good listener. I understand. Helena looked at Qin Ge and nodded. I believe that day will come soon, and I am also looking forward to that moment. Navigation at sea is relatively boring. Even though there are not many siren fleets on this route, it takes a long time to travel from Guam to Hawaii. And in order to facilitate management, the commands of several camps have returned to the command ship where the camp is located. As for Qin Ge's command ship, in addition to Helena and Phi Long, there were a few people from Guanghui, Belfast, and Tianchang, as well as Donghuang's Anshan and Chongying's Ruhi, so the journey was very harmonious. After traveling for several days, Qin Ge and others finally arrived in Hawaii, a place that many people in Qin Ge's world consider a holy land for travel. However, the situation here did not allow Qin Ge and others to feel relaxed and complacent. The ruins and shipwrecks everywhere silently told Qin Ge and them what kind of battles they had experienced here before. It's true. Although I was lucky when I came here, The situation here is indeed very similar to that of Dong Huang and Chongying. Qin Ji looked at the wreckage constantly emerging on the sea and the visible ruins on the island. He said to everyone on the boat, "Isn't this situation very normal? Although Beijing is much stronger than Chongying and Dong Huang, their coastline is too long and there are many positions that need to be defended. Choosing to abandon the front line is a very correct way to deal with it, and as far as I know, although there is no arbiter here, the destination of Hermite and Templarus is the Atlantic Ocean, so the defense there must be strengthened." Helena said to Qin Ji, "I have always had a question. Helena, you should be White Eagle's ship girl, right? But why when you talk about White Eagle, I obviously feel a sense of distance and not so cordial?" When he said this, Ruhi also glanced at Fi Long on the side. "Fi Long too, although I don't know what you have been through, but I feel a strong sense of distance." Qin Ji glanced at Ruhi and did not explain. He had asked this question before and knew the answer, but Ruhi was not present at that time, so it was normal for her to have this doubt. "Sure enough," Helena said to Ziwihi, "the White Eagle where I am no longer exists, and she does not exist in this world, so White Eagle is just a code name for me. Just like Helena is just the name of a ship to humans, even though it represents countless ship girls." This Ruhi couldn't understand. Maybe it was because he had never experienced what they had experienced, so he didn't have such a concept. "You can discuss this matter on your own, but we should have no work to do now." Qin Ji smiled at the two of them. "Ruhi, I would like to ask, does the front line of all camps have a headquarters similar to Dong Huang and Chongying, and does that headquarters have a communicator directly connected to the headquarters of the camp?" "Yes, this is almost standard equipment, and it is also a method to facilitate information exchange between the front line and the headquarters. Although it will cost a lot to build such a thing, its role is decisive, allowing the front line to communicate with the headquarters as soon as possible. And even if the sirens interfere with signals in the sea as before, communication with the front line and the headquarters can still be carried out because they are all wired." Ruhi replied. Qin Ji nodded, "That's no problem." Ziwihi's eyes lit up, "So you plan to find the front line headquarters on this island, and then use their special communicator to contact Beijing?" "Yes, we must know the current situation of White Eagle. If they have abandoned the defense deployment along the west coast, then we will go directly through the Panama Canal to the Atlantic Ocean," Qin Ji said. "Indeed," Ruhi nodded, "this can also save most of our time. It is a very good method." Qin Ji smiled and picked up the communicator in his hand. "The company and Bismarck, you two sent people to Hawaii Island to find the frontline headquarters and where their wages are stored. We need to talk directly with the White Eagle Command, and after making some estimates of our fleet, it is very likely that we will have to cross the Panama Canal, and such a voyage is relatively long for us." "Understood, Commander." The voices of Enterprise and Bismarck came from the communicator, and they responded immediately. Two teams of ship girls soon appeared in front of Qin Ji, gliding towards the island at extremely fast speeds. "The next step is to wait." "Speaking of Commander Qin Ji, what do you think will happen next?" Ruhi asked. Qin Ji looked at the ship girl who was gradually approaching the shore, thought for a while and said, "Maybe the result will be beyond our expectations." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Mu. Chapter 689. It's similar to the Donghuang front, but these architectural styles are a bit familiar, Cleveland said while walking and looking at the nearby ruins. "Ha, it's true what you said," Baltimore said with a smile. "As White Eagle ship girls, this is really the first time we have set foot on the land of White Eagle. Actually, regarding this, I think the Flying Dragon and Helena are right. For us, White Eagle is just a destination in our hearts. But in fact, Our real destination is the commander. So when the commander talked about rescuing White Eagle, my first reaction was not to rush over immediately, but to consider what kind of situation the commander would encounter after he came over, and whether I should consider giving up. Cleveland on the side was embarrassed. Said, "Actually, I am the same. After all, although we belong to the Silver Camp, we do not belong to the White Eagle," Baltimore said with a smile, but having said that, Helena is really mysterious. What she has revealed during her time in our fleet, some of the information is really incredible. Yes, look at our Helena, and then look at that Helena. Suddenly, I feel that the difference is indeed very big. Cleveland looked at the figure of Helena searching in front and smiled. By the way, Helena, have you spoken to the other Helena? Hearing Cleveland's question, Helena, who was searching ahead, turned her head and nodded. I told you something. I was on the commander's command ship before. Oh, what did she tell you? Cleveland and Baltimore both looked at Helena curiously. Helena thought for a while and said, she told her that she envied me, and asked me to stay well by the commander's side, to be strong, and not to write sadness on my face easily. She also told me some things I didn't know about the use of SG radar, which made me feel like a big sister. Is it like this? Baltimore said, is it possible that she wants to come to our port area? It's possible. The company behind came up and said to several people, no matter from every aspect, our port area is a very good partner. After all, we don't have those between camps. For trivial matters, we only take orders from our commanders. Moreover, our commander is also a very open-minded person. He comes from a different world. Although it is different from Helena and Phi Long's world, it is simply better than other camps. Cooperation? Enterprise, do you think they might join our fleet? Cleveland asked. The company thought for a while. According to the common sense of our world, a commander can contract at most one ship girl with the same name, but Helena and Phi Long are both from other worlds, and I don't know if this rule is useful for them. However, if they can be allowed to join our fleet, it will definitely be a huge improvement to the strength of our fleet, and with their rich experience against the enemy, it will also be a strengthening for us as a whole. However, these things are uncertain and can only depend on the commander's efforts. Haha, that's true. Baltimore smiled. But in my opinion, this probability is very high, because Helena has told the commander more than once before about this matter. Although she did not say it directly, she only mentioned it sideways, but it is enough to explain some problems. Enterprise smiled. I didn't expect that companies would pay more attention to these things, Cleveland said with a smile. No, it's just that I was right next to them when they were talking, the company quickly explained. Haha, let's not talk about this anymore. According to the current location of the ruins found, we have almost reached the vicinity of White Eagle's frontline headquarters. We will search carefully when we get down, Baltimore said with a smile. Just as Baltimore said, they have landed from the shore and have probably reached the center of the island. According to Helena's detection, there is still a weak signal here, so there must be White Eagle's frontline headquarters in this area. Soon, everyone stopped in front of a square. Looking at the spectacular buildings in front of them and the signs erected next to them, they were finally able to confirm that this was White Eagle's frontline headquarters. However, compared to the relatively complete headquarters found at the Donghuang Frontline Command, Beiying's headquarters appears to be much more dilapidated. Although the main body of the building is still there, it can be seen from the outside that most parts had been bombed, but this had no impact on everyone, because Helena had already determined the location of the signal. It seems that the resistance here is very strong. The siren even blew up the headquarters. But fortunately, the main building is still there. It seems that we can still contact the White Eagle headquarters, Baltimore said. Well, Helena, the next step is up to you. Enterprise looked at Helena and said, find the call line and connect it. We must contact the White Eagle command. Understood. Helena nodded and walked into the main body of the building with everyone else. Soon, everyone found the communication room. Although the situation here was in a mess, the location of the dedicated line was quickly found. After a period of combing, with Helena's efforts, this dedicated line was finally connected. Although there is still some interference, it is enough for a call. Helena handed the communicator to the Enterprise and said, "That's great," Helena. Enterprise praised, then took the communicator from Helena's hand and connected to the headquarters. After a busy tone sounded in the communicator, he was quickly connected. "This is White Eagle Command, Hawaii's dedicated line? Hasn't it been destroyed by the siren? Are you?" "Hello, White Eagle Command. I am affiliated with the White Eagle Ship Girl Enterprise under Commander Shinji. My commander and fleet and I have arrived in Hawaii. After seeing the situation here, I want to use a dedicated line to connect to the White Eagle Command," the company said. "Commander Shinji? Are you a company?" The person on the other end of the communicator was obviously a little surprised, and then quickly said, "I am York City, the York City who was stationed in your port area before." "That's great. York City, how is White Eagle's current situation? Can you tell us?" the company said happily. Because the sound in the communicator was noisy and interfered with, the two did not recognize each other's voices for a while, but they had spent some time together in the Ryu Island port area, so they were relatively familiar with each other. Bai Ying's current situation is very difficult. Although he received a communication from Commander Shinji to Bai Ying before, everyone thought that Commander Shinji was making a fuss out of a molehill. Although Essex and I both understand that Commander Shinji must be confident when he says this, the decision-making power does not lie with us. It wasn't until the Siren fleet attacked that they realized how big of a mistake they had made. York City said slowly. "My ship girl, my world." Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 690. Although the front-line positions in Hawaii have made preparations, those preparations were only to deal with the siren tide that happened before, and they also made plans to defend the enemy from the island. However, when the siren tide broke out, they all knew that they were wrong. This was not a siren tide in the ordinary sense at all. As soon as they met, the elite troops on the Hawaiian front suffered heavy losses. With the cover of the aircraft carrier-based aircraft, the front-line fleet and the ship's mother retreated to the Hawaiian island in embarrassment. But the siren didn't give them any time to react and chased after them. After deliberation, the command issued a retreat order to the Hawaiian front line. But it was too late by that time. Siren's carrier-based aircraft air-raided the main island of Hawaii, basically destroying all the buildings on the island. Even the commander who had not left and some free ship girls were all buried in Hawaii. But some people still escaped. They are now defending along the west coast, although there are relatively few people. But it seems that the Siren's main attack direction is not somewhere. After destroying Hawaii, their main force crossed the Panama Canal and came to the Atlantic Ocean. This information was also told to us by the Panama Canal garrison. Currently, the Sirens have established siren fortresses in the Atlantic Ocean, and sirens are constantly pouring out of them to attack surrounding areas. Now all the camps around the Atlantic are struggling to cope, but commanders continue to fall every day, and the remaining resistance is gradually dying out. We don't know how long we can last, so the company is ready to unite with the leaders of several other camps to give it a go. They will recruit awakened ship girls from their respective camps and form them into a fleet to enter the deep waters of the Atlantic Ocean to destroy those siren strongholds. This is the specific situation on our side now, but it stands to reason that Donghuang and Chongying are also being attacked by the siren tide. Why can your fleet suddenly appear in Hawaii? Have the sirens in Donghuang and Chongying retreated? Facing York City's question, Enterprise replied, "A lot of things happened during this period, but as you said, now the siren tide of Donghuang and Chongying has been repelled by us. And the reason why we are here is because the commander is preparing to gather the power of the awakened ship girls of Donghuang and Chongying to support you. Ah! Is this true? You actually repelled those siren fleets? And now you are ready to come to support us, York City said in surprise. Of course this is true, and we have received relatively accurate information that there are 2 arbiters deep in the Atlantic Ocean, so you must not act rashly and wait for our arrival, otherwise you will regret it, Enterprise said. Arbiter? Are they those unknown siren elites? We have eliminated several of them. Although it is difficult, they can still be defeated, York City said. No, what you are clearing should be the elite units mixed in the siren fleet. They are agents released by the arbiters, just like the executors released by the testers. They are only elite units, not the main body. The arbiter's body is much more powerful. They alone can destroy all the ship girls in this world. We had nearly 20 awakened ship girls who could not break her defense in front of her. And the key thing is that we only face 1 arbiter, and you have 2 there. And the strength of those arbiters is 1 plus 1, definitely greater than 2. The company said seriously. Ah! Is she so powerful? Then how did you defeat her? York City asked quickly. We did not worship her. If help had not appeared, we might have sunk in the sea. So please tell other camps not to act rashly at this time, just defend the coastline with all your strength and wait for our fleet arrival, the company warned again. I understand. Can you tell me the current situation of your fleet so that I can tell the companies and persuade them to wait for your arrival before counter-attacking? York City asked. Our fleet now has a total of nearly 200 ship girls. Among them, Donghuang assists 7 awakened ship girls, Changzikura assists 15 awakened ship girls, and our fleet itself has 40 awakened ship girls and those who are awakening. Above. So as long as we wait for our arrival, we can assist the 60 awakened ship girls. Enterprise explained to York City. Do you have 40 awakened ship girls now? I remember that when we left, there were less than 10 of you, York City said in surprise. Perhaps because our commander is special, our awakening rate is much higher than that of other camps. But now is not the time to talk about this. After we take a short supply break here in Hawaii, we will go directly across Panama Canal. When the time comes, you will send people to pick us up and guide us. Remember to wait until we are gone before making a counterattack plan, otherwise you will regret it. The company warned again. Although we have not met the arbiter you mentioned, now that you have said so, I still know you very well, and I will do my best to make them stop this plan. Then hold the position here and wait for your arrival. Then we will discuss the counterattack plan. York City said firmly. Okay, that's it. We will leave immediately. Please be sure to wait for us. Goodbye, the company said. Goodbye. Enterprise let out a sigh of relief after hanging up the communication. It seems that this communication is very timely, otherwise they would have broken into the arbiter's ambush, and then something big would have happened. But Enterprise, do you think they will really stop their plan? They didn't listen when the commander told them to strengthen their defense. Cleveland said on the side. I have said what I can say, we have done what we can do, and the decision-making power does not lie with us. If they really insist on having their own way, then what happens next is beyond our control, but if they wait, then we will definitely give them a surprise this time. Enterprise smiled. Yes, Baltimore said, then let's return to the command ship immediately and tell the commander the news, so that we can set off quickly. Yes, Enterprise nodded. Then let Cleveland tell the commander that Helena will detect where Bismarck and the others are currently. We will go over and help them find supplies. This way we can complete the supplies earlier and set off earlier. Yes. Everyone nodded and left the communication room together, each walking in different directions. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 691. Qin Ji frowned after listening to Cleveland's report. They still didn't listen to my warning to them. Cleveland said with a slight embarrassment, although Commander said that he had gained some prestige among the major camps at that time. In fact, they still didn't care too much about your suggestions. After all, a camp has a lot to consider and needs to take into account the opinions of different people, otherwise there won't be so many high-level officials. But I believe that after this siren tide, when the commander says anything in the future, the same situation will not happen like this time. Qin Ji nodded. I hope so, but judging from the information you reported, they are almost at the end of their rope, otherwise they wouldn't be desperate to attack the Siren stronghold in the Atlantic Ocean. Absolutely. York City is usually gentle and honest, so she shouldn't lie to us. The situation of White Eagle, Royal, Iron Blood, Iris, and other major camps must be very bad now, Cleveland said. So, are you ready to cross the Panama Canal directly next, Commander? Genhai asked at the side. Qin Ji nodded. Yes, since the Siren's main attack direction is not here, we will not gain the maximum benefit if we go to support them. So it is better to go directly from here to the Panama Canal, and from there to the Atlantic Ocean. And didn't Cleveland just say that the White Eagles would have someone to take care of us then? Wait until they meet up, and then contact other camps to attack at the same time, so that it can be safer. Ye Genhai nodded, but even though I said that, there are 2 arbiters over there now. Although we have 3 ships from other worlds, Helena, Flying Dragon and Nizana, there are still some difficulties in getting on them. I know, so I'm wondering if there are more awakened ship girls gathered, and we can contribute to this battle by then. Qin Ji looked at Genhai and said. At this time, Helena on the side said aloud, Commander Qin Ji doesn't need to worry too much. Although there are only 3 of us at the moment, why did we ever say that there are no of us in the Atlantic Ocean? You must know that the 3 of us are not the only ones who came to this world, so facing Hermite and Templarans, we may not be able to fight when the time comes. Hearing what Helena said, Qin Ji's frown relaxed. If it's really like what Helena said, that would be great. When the time comes, not only the power of your embers, but also the power of the awakened ship girls in this world, I believe that this war will be won smoothly. Ha, my blood boiled a little when I heard that. Cleveland laughed. What about Enterprise and Helena? Qin Ji asked Cleveland with a smile. They went to help Bismarck find a supply point. When I came back just now, I heard the news that they found a supply point. However, the island has been bombed very extensively. How much material is left in the supply point? I can't say exactly now. Clear, Cleveland said. It doesn't matter. In fact, with our current supplies, we can pass through the Panama Canal and reach the east coast of White Eagle. But the commander must want us to collect more to avoid any accidents on the way, Guanghui said with a smile. Qin Ji nodded. After all, the battle is all about logistics. Although in this world, logistics plays a much smaller role than the world I came from, it is still the top priority. We must make sure nothing goes wrong, otherwise if we encounter some unexpected situation on the road, it will be too late to regret it. And we are here to save people, not to cause trouble. Haha, that's what the Lord said, Tian Cheng said with a smile. Commander, I'll get off the ship first and go help them. I believe we can set off faster, Cleveland said. Qin Ji smiled and nodded. That's troublesome for Cleveland. If you need more people, just tell me directly through the communicator and I will make arrangements. Yes, Commander. Cleveland saluted, then turned around and ran off the ship. Watching Cleveland leave, Tian Chen looked at Qin Ji and said, we can unite several camps and go to the sea to clean up. It seems that Beiying and the others are in urgent need of delay. Otherwise, according to the rationality of those few, they will definitely not would make such an impulsive plan. Qin Ji nodded. He had Bismarck, Richelieu, Veneto, Enterprise, and others in his fleet. I know what kind of character they are, and being able to make them make such a choice seems to have reached the bottom line that the camp can bear. It depends on whether York City can persuade them to stop. After all, it will take us a long time to get there. These days should be their darkest moment, Qin Ji said. I hope it won't be too surprising what kind of choice a person who is forced into a corner makes, Jinhai said with a smile. We have done what we can do. If they still insist on going their own way, only their camp will bear the losses. But I think that given the history of not heeding the commander's warning last time, they should have a longer memory this time. Qin Ji smiled and said, Haha, Jinhai, you are still like this. Then let's wait for Bismarck and the others to complete their supplies, and then we will set off. When Cleveland left the command ship, he quickly returned to the company and them. At this time, the company, Bismarck, and others were sorting out supplies. This place had been bombed before, so many supplies were suppressed or scattered. Cleveland, why are you back? Have you reported the situation about White Eagle to the commander? Enterprise looked at Cleveland in surprise and said. I have reported it to the commander, who said let us resupply quickly and then head directly to the Atlantic Ocean from the Panama Canal, Cleveland said. There is no problem with this, but this place is a bit messy from the previous bombing supplies, so it will take some time, the company said. Why don't you report the situation here to the commander and ask him to send some more people over so that we can collect and organize it faster, Cleveland said. There is no need to bother the commander about this matter. We Iron Blood and White Eagle can completely accomplish this kind of thing. Just send people from our two camps, Bismarck came over and said. I agree. If the commander has to worry about such things, then we are a little too incompetent, Enterprise smiled. Then I'll call them, Denver. Cleveland naturally couldn't forget his sisters and said quickly after hearing this. Okay, let's call the others too. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 692. With the efforts of everyone in White Eagle Iron Blood, supplies were collected quickly. It took less than an hour for the command ships of all the ship girls to be fully supplied. Everyone immediately set sail, sailed around Hawaii, and headed towards the direction of the Panama Canal. Because Beijing's emergency situation has been determined, we chose to move forward at full speed this time. As for whether they would encounter the Siren fleet on the way, Qin Ji left it all to the command ship's radar and Helena. Although this decision is somewhat inappropriate, it is very likely that they will encounter a large group of Siren fleets. But considering the strength of their fleet now, it seems that even encountering a large group of Siren fleets will not pose much of a threat. As a result, the entire fleet arrived at the entrance of the Panama Canal in less than 3 days. Looking at the river with obvious traces of battle, Qin Ji couldn't help but sigh. It seems that a battle also took place here, otherwise there wouldn't be so many traces of battle. This is natural. The Panama Canal is a very critical location for White Eagle no matter which world it is. It connects the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans and is also the shortest way for the fleet to pass through. White Eagle will naturally put a certain amount of power here, but this time Antique's action has obviously disrupted their deployment. Even the front line of Hawaii can be abandoned, and it has become a matter of course to abandon the Panama Canal. Helena said indifferently. Speaking of which, didn't Bai Ying say he would send someone to meet us here at the Panama Canal? Why is there no trace on the radar? Could it be that Bai Ying really went to the Atlantic Ocean? Qin Ji asked doubtfully. Helena smiled softly. It seems that the technology developed by White Eagle in this world is also good. At least the Sea Soul camouflage has deceived the radar. Ah, Qin Ji looked at Helena in surprise. Did you say that the person who responded has already arrived? Helena nodded and pointed to a canal groove far ahead. It's already here, and it's in the groove far away. Qin Ji couldn't help but be speechless. It seems that even though Bai Ying has become like this, he is still unwilling to show weakness to us. Without Helena, we might make a fool of ourselves this time. Haha, don't you feel a little stubborn and sick? Helena smiled. Commander, since the people from Beijing Connection have arrived, let's go and greet them. We can't just let them stay there, right? Jinhai said with a smile. Qin Ji nodded. No matter what the reason is, we have to act together in the next period of time, but we can't show weakness here. Inform the company and send a ship girl to receive our guests. Understood. Jinhai nodded quickly, then picked up the communicator and explained the matter to the company, and reminded the company very emphatically of the 4 words receive well. Although companies can be stubborn sometimes, they still have a clear sense of priority when facing this kind of thing. So Ticonderoga and Baltimore were immediately dispatched to the location of the groove Jinhai mentioned. At this time, in the distant groove, Essex was wearing White Eagle's newly developed Sea Soul camouflage and looking at the fleet in the distance, with a look of shock in his eyes. It's so fast. It's only been 3 days since the York City report, and you've already arrived here from Hawaii. After talking to himself, Essex showed a rather hesitant face, but, can I just wait like this? Others are here to help us, why do those people have to do this? Face is really so important. Obviously Essex already knew what the consequences would be if she carried out the mission entrusted to him by the White Eagle camp, but she was White Eagle's ship girl, and such a mission had to be carried out. Anyway, let's apologize to Commander Qin Ji later. He won't be angry, maybe. While Essex was talking to herself, she didn't feel that 2 ship girls were already gliding towards her quickly, and there was no trace of them even on the radar. And all of this is naturally Helena's method, especially on the command ship at this moment. Qin Ji looked at the scene in surprise. Why did the signals in Baltimore and Ticonderoga also disappear? Qin Ji asked in surprise. Of course I made some adjustments. Helena smiled. If we want to facilitate this action, we must take the initiative, and then we need to suppress them from every place. Only absolute strength can win the absolute right to speak, especially in White Eagle. So, since they used the Sea Soul camouflage to block the radar signal, then it's not a foul if I move my hands and feet a little bit, right? It just erased the radar reflection signals of the 2 of them. Qin Ji looked strange because he clearly heard Helena talking about us. Why are you so surprised? We are now in a cooperative relationship, so to me, you are the same as us. Helena naturally knew what Qin Ji was thinking, so she explained. Qin Ji nodded thoughtfully. I understand, just let it go, as long as it doesn't cause deeper conflicts. Haha, no way. Helena smiled and looked into the distance. Tiancheng and Jinhai, who were staying behind the 2 of them, looked at each other and couldn't help but smile on their faces. Although Helena in front of her knew a lot and deliberately concealed herself, for the 2 of them, sometimes her deliberate actions revealed her purpose. Just like Helena's explanation to Qin Ji before, although it sounded natural to Qin Ji, it sounded like a forced explanation to the 2 of them. It seems it won't take long. Magi smiled. Yes, at most the battle is over this time. But she is still a little impulsive. I thought she would be confused for longer. Jinhai said. I was still doubtful before, but now if she has this purpose, I'm not too worried. After all, a ship girl will not deceive her commander. I believe this law applies no matter which world it is. It's the same. Magi smiled. Well, we are getting closer to the truth, aren't we? Jinhai said. That's right. The conversation between the 2 was deliberately muffled, and even Helena did not hear it, or even if she heard it, she would not comment. After all, she predicted this moment when she saw Tiancheng and Jinhai. And this does not conflict much with the plan they executed, because this plan is a conspiracy, and Qin Ji has to execute it unless he gives up the world. Obviously, this is impossible. My ship girl, my world. Author, Huangming Mu Ji. Chapter 693. Ticonderoga and Baltimore marched on, and soon came to the location of what the Enterprise called the Groove. Although with the help of sea soul camouflage, Essex blocked radar signals and the field of view of carrier-based aircraft, it could not block the view from close range. It turns out to be Essex, but it's so strange, why can't we find her on the radar? Is it the thing she took? Ticonderoga looked at Baltimore in confusion. It should be. Didn't the company say before that the commander said it was a newly developed technology by White Eagle called Sea Soul Camouflage, which can block radar and longer distance line of sight signals? But what I'm a little confused about is why she hasn't noticed us at such a close distance. Baltimore wondered. Ticonderoga thought for a while, it must be related to the commander, do you remember? Our previous radar signals could not detect the radar signals of Helena, Flying Dragon and the others. Maybe the two of us are related to their phenomenon now. But we haven't contacted them. Can we change our signals out of thin air? Baltimore became even more confused. I think that's pretty much it. I've seen too many bizarre things recently, maybe it's just what you think, Ticonderoga said, they may really have some magical way to change without contacting us. Our radar reflections. Okay, Baltimore shrugged, the company just emphasized to us that we should receive our guests well. What do you think this means? Haha, the Essex signal doesn't appear on our radar, so if she suddenly appears when we pass by here, it means that our precautions are relatively low, and our technology is not as good as White Eagle. If this is passed back to the White Eagle camp, then when we face the Silver camp, we will always be a little weaker, and the subsequent actions may also be dominated by them. So do you think the company told us to entertain us well? What means? Ticonderoga laughed. Are we going to start a fight with Essex? Although she looked quite serious when she was in the port area, she is not a bad person, Baltimore said. Of course we can't start a fight. If we start a fight, wouldn't it ruin our plan to come to support? Ticonderoga rolled his eyes. How about this, you go around from one side, and then I go around from the other side, and we scare her, can't we achieve our goal in the same way? Ahem, okay, but I think Essex is quite alert. Maybe we can't scare her, Baltimore said. Haha, I know Essex's character very well. When she gets entangled, she will easily become dazed. And now she has to always pay attention to the direction of the commander's fleet, and she can't care about us at all, Ticonderoga said with a wicked smile. Okay, Baltimore blinked, then turned sideways and slid in the direction Ticonderoga just said. Ticonderoga also saw this and slid to the other side. Poor Essex didn't know it yet, but she had been tricked by her sister. As Ticonderoga said, Essex will be in a daze when she gets entangled, and since her current task is to monitor Chin-Ji's fleet, she did not notice Ticonderoga leaving the fleet and coming over. Two people. So, while she was observing carefully, the two people quietly walked around her back and stopped when they were very close. Then Ticonderoga winked at Baltimore, waited for Baltimore to nod, and said loudly to Essex in front, "Are you the one secretly spying on us here? Raise your hands and lower your guard, otherwise we will. The gun is about to fire." Essex, who was observing carefully, suddenly heard a voice coming from behind and was too frightened to jump up on the sea immediately. She quickly turned around and saw the figures of Ticonderoga and Baltimore appearing in front of her, and her nervousness suddenly relaxed. It's me, I'm Essex." Essex said quickly. "Hey, Essex. Didn't you return to White Eagle before? Why did you appear here? And you are still here sneakily monitoring our fleet," Ticonderoga said. "I didn't," Essex retorted weakly. Ticonderoga rolled his eyes. "What's that in your hand? And if you're not fighting the Siren Tide in White Eagle, why are you here?" "Ahem, this is our White Eagle's latest research technology. Didn't Commander Chin-Ji contact our White Eagle headquarters before? So the headquarters sent me to respond. The reason why I stay here is because there are a lot of Siren fleets on this channel, and I brought this thing to guard against them. Essex tried to explain. Oh, so that's what it looks like. Okay, then let's take you to see the commander. Ticonderoga did not expose it, but smiled and said, also, long time no see. Okay, long time no see. Ticonderoga and Baltimore. Essex said hello awkwardly, then followed Ticonderoga and Baltimore and glided towards where Chin-Ji's fleet was. On the way, Essex looked at Ticonderoga and Baltimore gliding in front, and asked with some confusion, well, I want to ask, according to common sense, you should not be able to find me, why can you find me accurately? Where am I? Ticonderoga turned to look at Essex and smiled, this is the secret of our fleet, but then again, what is this research of yours? It's called sea soul camouflage. It can hide its radar signal and block the view of carrier-based aircraft. Essex did not hesitate. It had been discovered anyway, so it didn't matter even if he said it. I see. Ticonderoga nodded. By the way, Enterprise said before that your White Eagle was preparing to unite with other camps to attack the Siren stronghold in the Atlantic Ocean. Have you taken action now? Not yet. Because they received your communication, York City tried its best to prevent this operation. After all, Bai Ying had already caused too much damage because he failed to heed Commander Chin-Ji's warning. If we don't listen to Commander Chin-Ji's warning this time, we will definitely make a bigger mistake. So after the plan was suspended, York City sent me to pick you up. After all, I have stayed in your port area. I'm relatively familiar with you, replied Essex. Fortunately, you stopped your actions. I heard that there are 2 arbiters in the sea area where you are. You cannot deal with that kind of monster, Ticonderoga said. Arbiter? I heard about York City before, but she also heard about her from your fleet's Enterprise, so what kind of siren is that? Essex asked hurriedly. It will take some time to arrive at the fleet, so let me give you a brief introduction.